All right. That's a great way to start. Perfecto. I want to get it in, man. All right. Hmm, that's all right. Well, let me get this out of my way so I can say what's happening. Well, welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show. I'm your host. Eight Wind is timeless. I am the holder of the continuous ball game create of the infinite ball game created by the Hero Twins. I am your galactic daddy-o sitting on my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. And our sponsor for tonight's show is Drakkar Essence for the man who has nothing. Our beer is Founders Dark Rich Porter. Pop them if you got them. Smoke them if you want them. Bottoms up. This beer strong. 6.5. And this is Hamilton Devices. Smoke them if you want them. Here at the Chocolate Mountain Show, we have nothing but the finest oils, waxes, butters, crumble. Key, what is happening? Crazy Sarge. I got to give you a call. MJ Givens. It's funny, MJ, when I'm like meditating and I see something, I automatically like, I got to look at that the other way too. So that's so cool. Come in and like I was telling a friend, she popped in and I saw her one way, but it made me think of you. And I'm like, she's probably looking at me the other way. Because I was trying to describe which hand she used. I'm like, I can't really say for sure because it's probably reversed the way I was looking at it. It's probably not the way it really was. So, 111. Oh, Anise, thank you for joining. All right, that's what's happening to everybody. Kind of a slow day today. Not a lot going on in my world, at least. Not a whole lot to talk about. You know, again, I never have really one subject with the games going off and stuff. So, just little bitty things makes me wonder. I'll tell you one guy to look for, and I haven't done the gematria, but I just know how when they do stories and you still every day they doing a story about somebody. Hey, homie 43, what's happening? Hey, Jody Husky checking in. Thank you. I think Larry Bird is one we need to pay attention to. His name is popping up too often. So let's watch out for Larry Bird to see if this is how they're going to do even a possible Olympic sacrifice. So we couldn't be we have to pay attention because just like remember last time we had Olympics, they killed Ali. Like Ali was killed right at the end of the NBA finals because again, if it would have been another game, it'd have been tonight. So we went to game 7, it'd have been tonight. Then the Olympics start. It's in hours. You know, while most of us going to sleep over there, they starting like 6:30. I think Eastern time. It'll probably be 4:30. No, they gave Central time, so I think 6:30 my time, 7:30 everybody, 7:30 Eastern time. It's going to be about 4:30 in the morning for people in the West, but they're going to show it again Central time at 6:30 tomorrow. So, for those of you that love the Olympics, that's the kind of the schedule. That's the way it's been going, even though Olympics have started, because I watched the softball game that was from this year. So, hey, Lobo, what's happening? So, oh, homie, yeah, I talked about that. Greg Knapp died. I saw that. Okay, yeah, so he died today. All right. Hey, Green Onions. Seemed like they killed him twice. There you go. So he did pass today. Yeah, Larry Bird, the thing that hurt Larry Bird the most was transferring. Because back when Larry Bird transferred from Indiana, he worked and played winter rec for a while. Then he went into Indiana State, but you still had to, they penalized you for transferring. They put you out a whole year. And so when Larry Bird went to the NBA, I would bet Larry Bird was closer to 25. Whereas Magic came in the NBA at 19. He just played the 1 year. Larry Bird probably was 25, and then he hurt his back. Remember, Larry Bird hurt his back, and I can't say he was too cheap, maybe too prideful to get somebody to do his mother's to concrete his mother's driveway. He did it himself and hurt his back that way. But yeah, you can see, and I say Red Auerbach when they drafted Len Bias, that's what they kind of knew. They kind of knew that Kevin McHale couldn't carry him. Chief was old already, so with bringing Lynn Bias in, they wouldn't have had to play as hard. I mean, Kevin McHale definitely wouldn't have had to play a whole year with basically a broken foot, which still bothers him today. Snapped him on the side. Wow. Hey, James, thanks for joining. Someone tried to take a train yesterday and didn't win after someone last week ran into a train. So keep ears open to word or phrases using train in it. Okay. Good anti-spell. And that's the thing. It's like when you hear people writing stories, people a lot of times spell on themselves. Like I know I was with my daughter and she said a spell and I just had to wipe it out as soon as she said it. So remember, if you hear these spells, wipe that shit out. Don't let people write these bullshit negative stories. Hey, Mark, what's going on? Thank you for joining. So remember that. And you don't write fear stories of your family and your people that you love. Don't write stories, because this is how this language works. If you're going to write stories you freaking winning. Don't bring up this negative stories. Don't think these negative thoughts. Now, there's a reality that some bullshit does hit us. But on the other side, remember that you have a lot more influence on this way this thing goes. And I'm gonna start off this evening, and it's gonna be kind of boring, but it's quantum physics. Our study suggests objective reality doesn't exist. And this is what people don't understand. As you sitting here looking at me, other than your attention and the way you reply, technically you don't exist. Where you live doesn't really exist to me. The only thing that exists from your perspective is what you see here. The rest of the building, the rest of these rooms, they don't really exist. Protons only move when you watch the stuff. So this shows you more. Like, the video games when you drive or you traveling, how the landscape just appears. That's how this reality appears. Driving tells you that. When you drive, you see that easily. Hey, Lorenzo, what's happening? When you read things like this, you just have to know, and it's this long, but it's just, that's the main point of it, is how you look at things and how you create things. Oh, here we go. Whoops. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right. I guess we'll put this here and see how this works out. All right. So, hey, James, thank you for joining. Yeah, nothing exists till you see it. That's it. Nothing exists until you see it. Even talking to a person on the phone, that's the only part of them that exists, is the voice. Now, in your imagination, you say, well, I know what they look like and where they at and where they coming from. That's why I say magic, in your own magic, is so important to work on daily, because you can write what's going to happen. You can write what's going to happen. And that's not just positive thinking. Oh, that's not just positive. Oh, my goodness. Oh. She got my daughter wearing curlers. They grow up so fast. When your children are babies, they ain't babies long. It seems like they're babies and little forever. They ain't. Next thing you know, you turn around and these mugs is grown. Thank you, Anise. But that's right, homie, it doesn't. And so that's why magic is so effective too, because magic takes advantage of that. And now I got to pull a bag out on somebody. I did a truce and had to pull the bag out, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pause for a second. Yep, I think it's interesting. Makes it look grown up. Right. Okay. Well, I'm broadcasting, so that's all right. That's right, homie. That's right. And like even that's why remote viewing is so powerful, because through remote viewing you can see, because even the way you have to approach remote viewing, you approach it and it's the same way as you approach it, it starts to materialize. Now sometimes you can approach things with remote viewing where you almost are like a drone. Sometimes approaching remote viewing, you approach it like a drone. Sometimes you kind of walk right into it. And that's why they hate that shit. People with those ability. That's why we just had the spelling bee with the little girl that can dribble crazy. I mean, this is what they're looking for. They're looking to who can cast this stuff the best. And so, like someone here said that their child they thought was remote viewing because they could remote view when they were a child. Don't tell counselors and shit that. Don't keep that in the family. I can carry a spell that may counter a major one. There you go. That's it, Crazy Sarge. That's what we have to do. We have to do anti-spells. That's why really is one of the easiest spells I give anybody is really repulsive spell, because you can repulse cars, metals. You can repulse that stuff. Now I ain't saying I can neo and make the bullets stop flying, but I've had bullets flying around me, ain't hit me. Ain't hit who I was with. So there's somewhat a little bit of ability that can make that stuff miss you. I've had bullets go right by me. But cars is the easiest one. You can hit them telepathically. And I've said this over and over again. The times you should be using your telepathic abilities is when you drive. Practice that. Make them like when you come to a four-way stop, it's really just they looking at your head, your face. Just do like that, but really you're hitting them with that go, 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 go. And even though they're seeing you, and you're what in a four-way stop, we're 10, 12 feet apart, but still you can be hitting them with your mind. You go. So to me, these are the kind of abilities that we need to work on. But remote viewing is really it's a way to pave your way for success, and it's a way to pave your way to expect to see the unexpected. You can go somewhere and see the unexpected. And again, it takes practice and practice. That's why I was saying it might be easier for people to be a drone instead of just boom right there and checking it out, instead of Star Trek and it being right there. Because that's what eventually will happen. You just kind of walk into it. But this is a part of the ethers. They don't tell you to practice. They make it act like it ain't something you can do. It's like I was saying with my friend. She popped in yesterday and then she popped in again today. And I described something. She said, well, I don't normally do that. But it was her. I know it was her. And so she's popping in. But when I popped in on her, I was able to really see where she was at in a way. I was able to see like more like the way she was sitting, what she was facing. I could see all that, where she sat, where she faced in. And again, I wasn't really remote viewing, but when she popped in, I just went into the scene. Oh, okay. So, and it's not really intrusive. As I was saying before, like with what is her name? I'll be forgetting these names. She's gonna get me. But we had a prayer thing. And like when we would all get together, I would bring everybody like in one room. And like as we each were manifesting for each other, I would just like bring everybody together. And then I even had to catch myself, because that ain't really the way to do it. You have to let them do their own thing sometimes. So you have to know your own abilities too, and not be intrusive, unless that's your intention of being intrusive. Instead of in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, say the mother, the child, and the spirit within. Right. As well as direct energy. Yeah. I make people miss free throws when we lose, and there you go, normalize. Every single time. Do you ever define success? Very loose word. How do you find success? But put it all in the face of over everything. How do you define success? That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Does success come from necessarily repetition? Because for me, being an athlete, success comes from repetition. And so when I practice my magic, my meditation, the science that I created, I use it over and over and over again. Like my friend says, she says she meditated twice today. I meditated a couple of times. Again, when I prayed my directional prayers, and I'll say this is now that I follow the directional and throw my prayers into the directionals, everything has expanded. I mean, really, everything has expanded. My Kundalini has expanded. I would say the only thing that I really haven't mastered is the Zar movements. That I haven't mastered. But when I master that, then it's going to be like, really, how do you like me now? Like, my name is the Funk. Some people call me the One. Or is it my name is the One? Some people call me the Funk. And in duplicity, being the one paves the ways for the other yous. So to get to his question, I would say the greatest thing that would show, no matter what you do, the greatest thing that would show success is that you still find joy in something. That this thing doesn't take you over so much that you personally don't have any joy, don't have any love. Love doesn't become supreme for you anymore. You have no bliss. So to me, that's not success. If this thing that you're working and doing has taken you down so much that you don't have those, because it's not hard to make money. I mean, especially right now. But the thing is what people get lost in, that making money is success. Now, if you're not taking care of everything else, the money in some way is making you more miserable. The money is blinding you to everything else. And so, to me, success is finding joy and love in the world. I mean, believe me, this thing can be manipulated. You know, all the money you want to make, hey, PJ, what's happening? Success may be a triumph. I mean, that's saying one mission at a time. Yeah. Success wouldn't be a defining tool. It should be a measurement tool. You always say that, and I appreciate that. So yes, it's a measuring stick. It's a measuring stick of how much joy, how much bliss, and how much love of what you did, and it puts you at a certain point. Like we saw Crazy Sarge smelting stuff. He had to go back and smelt some more. And then once he smelt them, you know, he had some people that wanted in the group that wanted them. And so his alchemy was successful. So his alchemy was successful. And so you can look at success as individual things, individual steps as well, or you can take it as a totality. I'm joyful and I feel loved and I love every day. I love myself every day. Like, before I come on here, I'm watching this shit on Netflix, and I really don't normally like slashers, but the shit was kind of intriguing. But it was like slashing up children and shit. I'm like, wow. So I watched something else, and it's like These is spies and shit killing each other. And it's like, in this world where killing and seeing shit killed is so normal. Now, as the witch says, love or above. But you watch this shit, it's like, this is how, this is the country of the imbecile psychopaths. Because all this murder and killing is really human sacrificing when it comes down to it. That's the key that I think I want to give everybody. These murders and shit is human sacrifices, because the ones that set some of this shit in motion, that's what they believe in. Now, you can say the surge with the children and all the stuff. That's a lot of propaganda. However, where there's smoke, there's fire. And we do see, and they talk about where these families in South America just having children to sell them to America. So it ain't all about the keys anymore. It ain't about the cocaine and the heroin and the fentanyl. Sometimes it is about these humans, because that is my point. The Jesuits ain't the ones that's doing this. The Jesuits don't have that history of human sacrifice. If the Jesuits would have been operating during Isabella's time, they would have been working for her. And the people that started the Jesuit shit, the Borgias and them motherfuckers, worked for her. Hey, James, what's happening? They definitely are. Look at how the world reacts. So don't give them an excuse. Don't give them an excuse. Jesuits ain't never been about really human sacrifice. Not like we see a history. We see a history of who really does the human sacrifice. So that's how you have to look at all this violence manufactured and all these distractions. And as I said last night, the names for it, the Minneapolis effect that was heard all over the world. And I've said this before, what my terrible stuff, you are familiar with the gematria effect news of what are your thoughts? Zach is my man, truth. Zach is my man. I think Zach might have picked a side. Maybe he's not. I know Zach ain't naive. He ain't naive. And he's picked a side. What was his name? Jordan Maxwell? Jody, you on here? Jordan Maxwell? Was that his name that Killer Priest had? Spewing the same old bullshit out his mouth about the Jesuits. I don't blame the youth. I know it's all code of omatria. I know it's all by design. It's not inherited evil. It's not inherited evil. It's designed evil. Designed evil. I don't know. Designed. Okay, I'll put the design like this. Designed to spread it evenly, but it's already encoded. It is already encoded. When the chick said there are people born with this shit, this is what this country raised. That's why the book, Poor White Trash, 400 Years of Class Distinction, is so important. They started breeding imbecile psychopaths when before they were sterilizing them. And it got to a point where it was like, ding, 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 ding. If we kill all these people that will fight for us, they're going to come after us. They're going to come after us. So we need a buffer zone. Cops, these is buffers. Do you know who we can specifically pinpoint all these human sacrifices to? Because obviously it ain't the Jesuits. Well, you know, it's the P. What is it? JFP. That's who everything goes to. And it ain't all of them. Y'all dig it, this day and age, of course, yeah. But that's who it is. Hey, Jody, there she is. So Jody, was it Jordan Maxwell? Was that the cat's name? And so that's That is who holds this bloodlust. That is who needs sacrifices. I mean, you got to look at the wars as the biggest kind of sacrifices you can see. I mean, World War I, if you study it, makes no sense. The amount of people they killed. You got battles where 500,000 people damn near got killed. Versailles, I think it is. It's some of them battles where 200,000-300,000 men got killed. What do you think that is? Why would people keep like it was a movie? It's a movie, and maybe a young Mel Gibson is in it. It's about Australians in World War II, where with them German machine guns, they got to run across, and they just get mowed down. And the movie leads up to that shit. This is what it was. They were sitting there, mustard gassing each other, but like nobody's pulling back. Like, how does so many people get killed and nobody's pulling back sides? There's no strategic retreat. Pickett's charge is the most human sacrifice in your face shit, where they killed about 7,000-8,000. Who goes across the field full of cannon fire? Who sends men with guns across the field of cannon fire in good conscience? What general does that? What commander does that? Look at Hamburger Hill. Both sides. Why did the Vietnamese keep sending people when there was no strategic importance of this ground that they had a battle with 2 months before that? The Tet Offensive killed the Southern Vietnamese army. Basically, it killed the Viet Cong as a fighting force. Like, almost that's on purpose. So the only army was the army in the north. It was almost like they purposely killed them because they was in some way separate. But they sent them in and wiped them out. Hey, Chief, so when a professional athlete is going to realize they are slaves, they literally don't own their bodies. When they gain enough courage to start their own leagues, that was the thing of what Jackie Robinson killed. I mean, the only people really did was the Globetrotters, because Goose Tatum broke away, Marcus Haynes broke away, and they were still successful. That's my thing. Is I grew up where almost every business had a winter league basketball, and that's healthy for one thing. But they had softball teams, and then some businesses even had football teams. In my lifetime, this was common. When I moved to Battle Creek and started my semi-pro career, it was 600 teams, if not more, from a town of basically 50,000 people. Went to Kalamazoo, bigger towns, bigger leagues. And then I saw them throttle this down, throttle that thing down, where you had so many local stars. Your child could come see you be athletic. And it's the thing is like what my 26-year-old learned, the healthy lifestyle. Eat right, work out. That's really all you do. Because gym class teaches you how to do army calisthenics. Dr. Valentine always would point that out. That's real shit. Army calisthenics is what you learn in gym class. I mean, yes, the football, basketball, they throw that in, but the basic working out, the way you start. So all that money in preparation to run across fields with machine guns and cannons aimed at you to mow you down. Look at glory. They all knew they was moved. Yes, they still barged in. Like, and homie, I said this before, is I had a relative die in the battle of the storming of Fort Wagner, which they never took it. Wasn't until the end of the war. They just gave up fighting, but they never took it. My relative is the one Denzel grabs the pole. Matter of fact, the first person, or I'll say the first black dude, or the first melanated person to win the Medal of Honor, picked the pole up from my family member, and when all the fighting was done, he made sure the flag went back to the line, and they gave him the Medal of Honor. Somewhere in D.C., they still have the staff. My uncle went to see it. And so he dies there. buried in a mass grave. His name is on the Colonel Shaw, Thomas Ampey's name is on the Colonel Shaw Memorial. But yeah, I mean, he went in there and didn't even have no gun. No football this year. They're saying they're trying to force all the players to, take the drip. That's the thing. They're saying if you got too many coaches, people in the organization, you get a forfeit and you don't get paid. Guaranteed contracts, but if it has to do with the drip, you don't get paid. You see how dirty they doing pros now? See how dirty they doing them? They talking about the Olympics still as a chance. They doing all this freaking lying. Oh, the cases have gone up over here. Ain't Japan one of our allies that they gave this stuff to? Ain't it plenty of the drip there? It's plenty of it there. Trying to force more people to do it. How long have they been using technology to manipulate the shot? David, I think the first game was 69. The Don Nelson shot. That looked like the first game that they did was the Don Nelson shot. Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, they talk about that. When he does this little thing, they're always pointing up. And we know when you point up who you're pointing to. It's not good energy. It's not good energy. What was his name? Went to Notre Dame. Rocket Ismail was one of the first. And then I couldn't stand Chris Carter. First thing he's doing, this is a drunk, a cokehead. And, that was his way of getting off of coke was to believe in the Lord so much. But yeah, that's they told that story. And we know that was a sacrifice for them boys. That's why they ain't Greek. Them brothers is not Nigerians. They said if you catch it, your team is forced to forfeit. That sounds like cap. They must be running out of scripts. Exactly. But the backbreaker is you saying you ain't even gonna get paid. If you forfeit, you miss that week. Because remember, you get the camp money, you get the bonuses for going to camp and going to these workouts. Then you get the camp money and you just getting per diems. So you just getting per diem pay. You ain't getting your salary until that first game. So for about 6 weeks, you're just getting per diems. You're not really getting your real bread until that first. I think NFL get paid on Tuesdays. And so that first Sunday, then they'll get paid that following Tuesday. I think that's when they used to get paid. Could have changed by now. But that's what NFL used to pay on Tuesdays. If the NBA was ran by Jesuits, Ghana's Pops would still be alive. That's a good point. That's a good point. This year. Yeah, Jody, this year. But wasn't that Jordan Maxwell that I missed? Did you answer me? I guess I'll get to talking and shit. Get off of that. No, she didn't answer me. So, yeah, the technology has been used until 69. And then probably the peak of the old technology was the Villanova game. Villanova and Georgetown. That's when we see it full effect in the first game. Trying to think, when was Jordan's game? 90, the Shrug game, 90, 91. That was really when we saw it in full effect in a pro NBA game, is the Jordan Shrug game where they helped him make everyone. Everyone is made by the system. Now, in modern times, when we see it effectively used to stop a good player was Danny Green, because LeBron was putting that work on their ass. And then Danny Green is the difference. When Kawhi won his first title, it was really Danny Green's title. So, hey, David, what's happening? Yeah, it was Maxwell. Yeah. So when and really, I always in my mind was thinking that Zach, jumping with the Jesuits and blaming them for everything. I was like, yeah. But then when I heard Maxwell say it, and then it's another dude, like, they miss it. They miss it. Because again, the Jesuits ain't into human sacrifice like that. What do they call when Jesuits do it? A hit or a murder? A human sacrifice. That's what this shit is about. It's human sacrifice. Just like these, the beautiful brother that is writing a book about all the rappers killed last year. And right now we up to what, 62, 60? No, we're up to 57 or 58 rappers killed this year. That's who they sacrificing. So for all this kind of music, all the pageantry you see that comes from the music awards, rap seems to be the number one thing of human sacrifice. I mean, even with look at the Pop Smoke thing, you just really think these young people just said, well, damn, I like that necklace that he got, and he's renting a house where, and let's just go over there and let's see if we can rob him. And look at the way they killed him. This wasn't a real hit. This was sloppy. They didn't send them real people in there, but they surprised him so much. Okay, Lorenzo said the Shrug game was in 92. Yeah, 92 we see it full peak in the NBA where they unleashed it. Astro Technology used Jan Irvin, Jordan Maxwell, Raja, reference the earliest known form of religion and nature worshiping, advocating the Etheridgean theory of order of religion. Interesting. That's famous in Transformers allegory. What rappers though? Man, just look at the list. What is his name? Somebody put out it. What's Jonathan's real name? What's his channel? Because I only got, maybe I can find it on this channel. Let me see. I can find it on this phone. On the eye. Let's see. I don't like here. Jonathan's name is watch me not be able to recognize it. Hey, I listen to some of these Jesus dudes, man. Sometimes they put out good stuff, and sometimes, like, get out of here with that. I thought it was in Infinite or something like that. Oh, that ain't it. I ain't gonna be able to figure out. If anybody else knows Jonathan's real name, throw that in there for me. I can't read it right now. Can't remember it. But he has the names. You can even wow, you'd have to go to Zach's show to catch Jonathan. Wow, you probably have to go to last winter when Jonathan gives all the names. So the government just publicly came out a month ago with a heat gun that's used to target crowds. It can work from hundreds of feet away. Yeah, Jody Husky. Well, right now they're saying that the intelligence community is being affected by the sound, the frequency kind of thing. I was hit with something. I had a doctor's appointment. I was feeling fine, but as you know, 5G was first used here during the Eagles, when my Eagles won the Super Bowl. That was the first time you saw 5G sent out and received, a signal sent out. And so for a while, and even right now down here where I live, that shit ain't down here. Going to the city, it really is. But something hit me. I was on the bridge. I was on the 94 bridge in front of US Bank. And it was some kind of weapon that hit me, and it literally made me, I just went from just being chilled, sitting in the back of the cab, just being chilled, to totally sleeping all the way there home. I mean, I was conscious, but it just hit me so hard where it made me sick. And I wasn't sick. It made me sick. What's so excessive on the copy and paste, Anise? What's I don't mind Anise. She's all right, Jody. She helping me out. That's all. So yeah, they've had weapons like that, but they had weapons like that going back to Hitler and them in World War II. They just didn't put them out a lot, but they've had weapons that can affect your nervous systems. They've had that. Hey, okay, James, thank you. So yeah, they've had weapons like that, so don't be surprised. They want to like the rubber bullet thing and all those. One of the guys that went down to the riots they had here, the Minnesota effect from and that's trying to de-escalate. It's like Kent State. That don't believe that is nothing to ever believe that you really think they just shot at these troops because somebody accidentally loaded their shit. No, that was all staged. Crisis actors. That was probably one of the first cases of crisis actors was the Kent State thing because they were losing to the colleges. The police forces was getting overrun by the colleges and college students. And so they had Kent State to threaten the rest of the nation. That's what Kent State was about. And remember, Bunchy Carter's killed on UCLA's campus by basically the FBI or people that work for the FBI. What is his name? Kurunga? Now people say, well, the Kurunga was used too. Kurunga got a holiday, didn't he? Killed Bunchy Carter and then he got a holiday. He's sitting there with his book. Don't mention shit about Bunchy Carter. Well, we needed something. We didn't believe in their thing. And the 5G just for behavior manipulation, some way that they need it ain't 5G. The internet ain't never been for us. Not really. We get the scraps. But for them, it's a way of moving things. I mean, now with this cryptocurrency, they really need to move things. They got that missile at Wright Air Force Base that'll just make you gay. Well, that goes into the dude that worked for DuPont. Yeah, DuPont in Michigan has a DuPont. I think it's DuPont in Michigan. And he did all that work for him to prove that. To prove there's chemicals. And we know the chemicals they sprayed in the 50s on East St. Louis. And I'm pretty sure they did the same thing here. I caught a study years ago, and I've repeated this before, this is a study that came out about cities that had plastics in their cities. If you had plastic factories, one of the side effects that people were seeing was it was making little girls mature faster, getting boobs quicker, making their periods younger. Now, the copy basically talked about the girls, but it was saying that they looked at 20 different factories around the country, and all of them had these same things of the people that lived because of the exhaust, the trash. So this is the same kind of thing. Because you make little girls mature faster, they become sexualized quicker. So this was the type of attack on bringing in a good business. You think that bringing a plastic factory, but part of the exhaust is poisoning the people in these kind of ways. And I'm sure you can look that up and find that report about the plastics. But the brother blows it away. He says the frogs not only act feminine, they try to have eggs and all that shit. And then the thanks he gets is they tried to kill him. They tried to defame him, Liquid Fire. There it is. Thank you for joining. Liquid Fire. Greetings. Thank you for joining. Yes, absolutely. These hitting the food that makes people act weird. The shit in the food. Yeah, that too. No doubt about that. I mean, it's some validity to what people say about, now the weed is legal and where it come from. But the thing is that so many people grow weed now. They ain't really pressing people like that. Like people that's growing it. Like Michigan is one of the best places in the world to grow it. And so many people grow it. Now, one thing that you don't see is seeds in weed anymore. That is regulated pretty much. You used to be able to get seeds from High Times, and it was legal. You could get seeds if you had a hybrid. Hybrid, whatever chamber, you could grow the weed like that. And I'll say, you can't get any more brown weed or gold weed. Like Acapulco Gold was a real golden looking weed. I remember I had brought home a pound of that shit I got in North Carolina and took to Michigan. Sold all that shit in Michigan. Or no, I took it back to North Carolina. It was the opposite. They put in something in the food too. Absolutely. And the water. Yep. Yeah, very few seeds. Very few seeds. I have not seen any weed seeds since 10 or 11. 10. My boy, one of my partners that I was getting it from. What is it called? His name was Nanchez was his first name. Nanchez? Yeah, Nanchez. Trying to think of the city in Mississippi. But he was named after that area. But he was, and that was 10. And it was like, I was picking out the seeds, and I had like a bag of seeds. And he was like, man, give them to me. And I'm like, here you go. I didn't think nothing of it back then. Cancer called hyperbonic. Yeah, that's it. The hyperbonic chambers. High Time sold them, and you could get seeds from all around the world at one time from High Time magazine. Cancer causing agents. I talked about that last night or the other night. Some people were saying that cancers might not necessarily be bad for you, that the cancer might be there trying to kill shit for you. And they're trying to cut it out. And there are people that have survived. I mean, I like the one brother said, his daddy went to office and they told his daddy he had cancer. He said, no, I don't. Because before you went in, something made you sick, but you didn't necessarily have that. And then once you hear from the science, and they want to poison you to make you feel better. Who are you doing that for? Like my mother was saying, well, you're a fighter, and I'm looking like, why would I want to go through all that? I got to poison myself. What does that do to my spirit? Come to think of, I haven't seen seeds. I haven't seen seeds since 10. Yep, I have not seen seeds since 10. I haven't seen seeds in my nuggets in the last 5 years. I haven't since 10. Yep, 10 was the last time. You know what? I'm not going to blame that on that and say that, Tiger Strong. I'm not going to say that because that's the same thing. Like the flip side. Like MJ always says, you have to look at the flip side. On the flip side, you can tell yourself all that poison you put in yourself to fight the cancer ain't going to hurt you. That it's working for you. So you could do that. I mean, I take concentrics. So it ain't like you can say I'm an anti-vaxxer. I take a bunch of goddamn shit. So I'm not an anti-vaxxer because I took that shingle shit because that's some fucked up shit to have. And there's a way, I'm more scared of shingles than getting this flu. Why Michigan is specifically good for growing weed? Well, if you go back to when all the stuff was legal and stuff, one of the main manufacturers of hemp came out of Michigan. Like going back before World War I, most of the rope in the world was made in Michigan out of the hemp plant. So they found that the hemp plants did very well. Now, if you talk about if people that are old enough to remember the G13 weed, I think that's what it was called, government 13 weed, something like that. It was some of the best weed you could get, and it was only made in Michigan in the summers. And this was a government weed where they went out and was legally checking this shit out. But there were maps, and you could get the shit, but you had to pay for the maps. But Michigan was one of the few places that was being able to continuously still grow hemp. And so Michigan has over 100 years of already growing hemp. And just the type of weed grown in Michigan is some of the strongest in the country. The two places is what is it? Victoria? No. What's it called? What was the Grizzlies? Where the Grizzlies was at first. One over, what is it? Over from Washington? Vancouver, and Michigan has taken over Amsterdam or Vietnam. Like that red bud they used to bring back, that was red looking weed, not just the red hair. Your daddy did it. Okay. Any more grapes? Are there anyone with grapes with the seeds? You got to buy them, especially too. Wow. They wiped them out like that, huh? Damn. Wow. That is devastating. That is devastating news. That hurts my heart. Vancouver. Yeah, Vancouver. Vancouver and Michigan made people not need to go to Amsterdam unless they wanted other things. If they wanted other things from Amsterdam, then they go to Amsterdam, but not the bud. Vancouver and Michigan is kind of taken over. That's why a lot of people in Michigan don't even bother with dispensaries unless it's edibles and others, because getting the flour, getting the hash, and getting the oils is cheaper to go, because you can, like Michigan is set up so cool where you can have your own grower. So a guy gets a contract, and he has so many clients, and he can grow so much. So people have gone to the outside, and they take some of that outside dirt and put in their greenhouses. I think my brother-in-law or my ex-brother-in-law, he has done that. They have all the seeds stored under Antarctica. And that's it was interesting about that. And that made me think of that. What was the movie? The movie like Tenet that was on Netflix when they had to go find the alien and go in there and destroy the alien, which is impossible because you really can't change the future like that, because the future would change as you're moving. It would change. It's not like it's going to stay still. It's like you go to kill Hitler. You couldn't kill him because circumstances would change so much. This matrix would adjust you being there, and that's what people forget. So, but when I saw that scene in that movie, it made me think of the seeds. It made me think of the seeds too, Jody. I was like, damn, they said the seeds is up there. I thought the same thing, Jody, when I saw that in that movie. But yeah, definitely a genocide. Michigan, you can grow up to 12 marijuana plants in your household. Yeah, but you can have clients too. So a lot of people is doing that, and it's some of the best lands. My wife's family on her father's side, they hold a lot of land, and so her dad used to grow it. I remember one time her dad had a little plant about that big that had a bud, or a little purple bud. The plant was that big. I'm still trying to figure out where my guys in Buffalo, New York, used to get that blue weed. I still ain't seen no more of that. But before I moved here, I used to go to Buffalo. I had a partner who lived in Buffalo, and that shit was blue. That was some bad shit. That was some Stardust shit. That shit had you thinking you was on the mothership. I'm making people's brains deteriorate. Wow, I'm not surprised. Thank you. You heard about all the NFL saying "get it" or else? Yeah, exactly. They ain't doing baseball players like that, but they cutting into checks, and so we know what they're gonna do. They're gonna lie about all these teams, and so many players gonna be out of checks. Where it's like when they crossed the picket line. What was that in 90? No, that was in the 80s, 89, 91, maybe the replacements time. We see that coming. So they're gonna raise, they're gonna hit them in the pockets. So that's their way of forcing players. Like, look at what they're doing to the military. So many people in the military was like, no, we pass. And now they forcing all of them by September. So if you get out in September, will you get get an honorable discharge because you declined? Will that give you an honorable discharge? What, you just kicking people out because they disagree? For all those, thank you, Anise. So we'll see. It's the shaming kind. This is the interesting thing. Before all this went, the research community was shaming everybody because we was putting out all the research, and then it got to a point where they can't hear it no more. And now for the ones that have taken it, it doesn't mean any new doom or gloom necessarily for them. They get to have freedoms, but it's like it's interesting. If you watch Fox, what Fox says, all the Fox cats say, it's your choice. It's the same thing as abortion. Your body, your choice. That's kind of the Fox saying. Well, even though we've done it, it's still your choice. It's still your choice. And they haven't really varied from that. They are still pretty much saying it's your choice. So that's interesting. Where you watch CNN, they saying the opposite. It's doom and gloom. Now, we already know people disregard John Hopkins. People like, you some lying motherfuckers. And yet the ELF, because the ELF is part of that information with John Hopkins too. So people disregard, especially the Mayo Clinic, which is the best hospital in the world. The best hospital in the world is about a half hour, about 45 minutes from me. It's nothing but a city of hospital. They are forcing it here at work. They're not forcing it there. Good. Any small action can change the trajectory of the matrix. You can load up on a video game and meet somebody, you and him can change the matrix. No. That butterfly effect is not real. The butterfly effect is not real. If your grandfather got killed, you'd still be born. It wouldn't make any difference. It'd be a way where you would still be born. and still be you. So I don't know about that. It doesn't appear so. Does not appear so. And I be fucking with time, and I'm seeing what they're saying. It does. It changes. It changes. It's like, even if you had all the sports scores, like Biff did in Back to the Future, it would change because you had that book. Now, probably 90% of the time it will follow the way, but because you had that book, it would change. And so you wouldn't be able to be 100% accurate like Buzz was in Back to the Future. It just adjusts to you. That's the fakeness of this illusion. It adjusts to you. So you couldn't kill Hitler. You couldn't get 100% of the games right because of you having that information. It would adjust to you. And you would have to bet at different places. Say you did have 100% of the knowledge. You can't just put the knowledge like, throw a bet. You go into these people every week and just winning. Like, what happens when you just keep winning somewhere in Vegas? They wondering how you do it. Now they're attacking my stream again. I see. Bummer. Hour in and now they're attacking it. I've got full stream down there, but I don't have it up there going into this. And that's kind of how they did. That's why my last video looked so patchy. I thought before when my son was playing video games, I don't think he's here unless they just pulled up. No, he brought the TV and the system in here. So nobody's using my system but me. Thank you. Thank you for trying to say the system is weak. Because so I'll plut through. Yeah. So, oh yeah, they definitely spreading the fear vibration. Any small. So, but I'll say, yeah, fear porn, no doubt. So I'll say this: if you do, and you do step into the future, just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind that you're going to change something. You're going to change something, so you adapt. So even if you had all the lottery numbers, you just can't go win every week. You'd have to go at times, and if no one, see, the way you'd have to do it is you'd have to see where people didn't win that week, and then if you could go in and win, and it really wouldn't change things. But if you tried to, like the dude who won the most, the close to $1 billion, you tried to claim that too, the system would probably kick you out because you weren't supposed to change it. So more than likely your numbers would change right in front of your eyes. You thinking you putting in the right numbers and the shit would change where you couldn't win at that time. Do you think the rain is fake? They've been, I mean, what did Forrest Gump say? Sometime it was raining sideways. They've been manipulating the rain. They seeded the clouds heavily more since Vietnam. They seeded the clouds greater to make the monsoons worse. So we've had that since the mid 60s. I think Zach does a great breakdown of the first time they made an area flood and killed some people over in England. I think you can look into Zach's book. I think it talks about that. So they've been manipulating the weather since the 50s. So, yeah, that's true. I get you. 3 years. Wow. Do you think about Truman Show theory? Just rewatch that. That would be each individual, because you can feel it. Like I always, when I was younger, would feel like everything I was doing was almost a movie like. Especially when I played football, it really all seemed movie-like. Like I would catch a ball and just be running and shit. And I don't know, it's funny how, in that instance, and especially who I am with the infinite ball game, just the way when I'm running, I would see things. Like I can remember when I dunked my first game, my senior year, I can just remember jumping and dunking it. And then when I landed, of course, like the reaction of the people jumping in the crowd, but it's like everything kind of almost froze a little bit the way everybody reacted, because I had moved one way, and then, I had already done it. And when I landed, the place erupted. So it's like interjection of energy that I released. But at the same time, for me, it was like I heard the noise, but I didn't see the explosion because everything was slower. And it's like, again, I'm no threat. I'm not getting tunnel vision. I just did one of the greatest things I had done at that point. But yet I saw it after I landed. I looked at the crowd, and the crowd, their reaction was like slow to me. It was just so slow until like a couple jogs, and it was like really weird. Because I remember Gloria, when she jumped up in the air, and she did, how they can jump up in the air and they can touch their feet, both feet at the same time. I just remember watching her skirt, and I'm like, why is her skirt moving so slow? And it was just my attention hit her more than the crowd. And it's like I watched her jump in the air really in slow motion. So it can be the moment too. But yeah, they control weather for a long time. Oh, Jody says she posted, look up Jody's channel. And she says she posted a star seeding, a cloud seeding video the other day. So yeah, I mean, even the like Texas, I've said this before. I wouldn't be surprised if Texas eventually frees them people out and say, turn in your guns unless we warm up. You warm things up. If you don't turn in your guns, then we're not going to warm things up. That's why the purge was in Texas. That's the fear of them people down there. They made it very clear in that movie they want to attack Texas first, because they think if they can control Texas. Now, this is the point that people probably missed. Even though they said the United States force beat the purge forever forces, what they're telling you is that it's possible for something to come in there and take Texas. And that's where they want to start. New Yorkers are assholes. Oh, that's funny. There's a patent on advice that increases hurricane intensity. I'll say this funny about New York. New York was the first place I went where people didn't look at you. Like it's like you don't really, when you went to New York in the 80s, and of course, do the tourist thing and go into Manhattan, it was the first time where I noticed that you don't really exist. And not only don't you exist, you definitely don't really exist to them. Now, you're talking about The Sims. That was how New York seemed in the 80s. Now, again, I'm talking about Manhattan. I'm not talking about when I went to see the bombed out Bronx and shit. That's a whole nother story. That was mind blowing. I had been in parts of Chicago that was blowed out, but when I went to New York in the 80s and saw, it's like how Detroit looks now. But with blowed up buildings. I mean, it was like, it looked like it had been a war in this city in the 80s. It literally looked like a war had went on. It was so much destruction and decay. And there wasn't no war. It was just trying to drive them people out to rebuild. So I am from Manhattan. You definitely are invisible. Yeah, Code of Matria. Yeah, but that's what was the interesting thing, because I'm used to looking at folks, but I just noticed. And it was like, the funny thing is the pickpockets and the grifters is like that. If you saw a person looking at you, you was being measured up. You was being measured up. So I was able to catch that kind of pattern. I'm like, yeah, okay, if you come near me, I'm going to forearm you hard. And so somebody had tried to bump me on purpose, and the person come on this side, I'm like, pow, I got a guy good. And then I caught the other dude, I stiff-armed him. I like fucking with people. But so that's the thing. But that's how they want the whole world to be. That's how they want this country to be. They don't want you to know your neighbors. They want you to fear your neighbors. I mean, look at the propaganda we just went through 2 springs ago. How they did the propaganda. That's how the Karen things come in. Because Karens was people that told. They was people that told. And so the propaganda had never been thicker. And that was just a run through to see if they would do it. Well, these children are out here playing, and if by them playing, they're going to get everybody sick. That's the propaganda that's going on now. And no propaganda. That's the other thing. Oh, did y'all see on Fox today the dude who Wikipedia, the co-founder of Wikipedia, dude that wear glasses and kind of bald, and he said it was all propaganda. Now, I don't know if he's still, my question was, does he still own it? But he was the co-founder of it, and he said for the last 5 years, it's nothing but propaganda. And this dude is the dude who co-founded Wikipedia. He said you can't trust it, and it is mostly, he said it was all propaganda. And this came on about 4 or 5 before the closing bell. No. Yeah, Winslow. It came on Kudlow that was in Trump's administration. He has his own show. He was interviewing the dude from Wikipedia, and he said Wikipedia ain't nothing but propaganda. So that's why in the Matrix they had them scenes in New York. Yeah, definitely. Yep. Because people don't really, I mean, that's a moving scale of people not existing. Because you have to be cold when you live around that many people. I imagine like 2 of my friends play basketball in China. One loved it, one hated it. One said it was too many goddamn people. The other one said he loved it. It was a lot of people. 2 different opinions, 2 different dudes. So I guess the main thing is to know yourself, to look at your reality. And if you do have to make the move, to move through, just you say it don't mean nothing, not a thing. That's all. Don't mean nothing. You do it don't mean nothing. Okay. We got a lot of that shit shot in us before. I had all the hepatitis shit. I got it from 2 different jobs. When I was a cop, they made me get that hepatitis shit, hepatitis 3 or whatever. That shit. And they was telling everybody to get the hepatitis shit. Remember that? I was blind then, and I went and got it. Yeah, they were definitely fucking with my feed. So how isn't the feed going to YouTube? Nobody else is on this but me. Other than this phone. I guess this phone is on it. But it ain't gonna this phone ain't gonna slow the feed down. The phone can handle the phone. So and I wasn't gonna go terribly long anyway. I have a lot of scenery. I like LA, there's a lot of scenery. I just hate Hollywood. Hollywood, a lot of Transformers are down there. The Matrix are the Transformers. Good point. It's like, I guess the point I was trying to make is like the Smiths. You know, the way the Smiths can appear, that's kind of what they was trying to make the Karens, was like the Smiths. You know how something going on, the Smiths can just transfer. That's what we were seeing. We saw the Nazi-style propaganda put on like it was a Smith. So people out there playing ball, we had the Smiths right there. The Smith would go into the people, and they would want to tell. That's what Karens is. See, Karens, it's kind of cool that they shame the Karens, because again, what does this country show they bow to? They would bow to the idea of the European woman saying something and causing this human sacrifice. That's how they used it. They used European women to start blood sacrifices of the melanated. This is one of their excuses. But I bet if we broke down and looked at it, it's definitely human sacrifice. It wasn't just murder. It was murder for a reason. And they've been doing this. Anise says a lot of weird stuff going on. Like my daughter was in Vegas last month, and it was a dude with just the thing around his rig. You know, the sock that's around his rig. My daughter's like, what else doing that? Karen been in the Matrix, about time. That's partly they have been, because I'm sure people can tell stories when they was in school or some shit young, and a little bit of difference you did, and there's somebody to tell right on you. I think T Grizzly said when they was trying to do the snatch and grab, it was dude in the jewelry store that pulled out some heat or some shit on him to stop him from robbing the place. It wasn't even the restaurant people. And this is the thing about looting. This is a time and a place for that. But see, they do looting to delude the message. See, looting really should be attack on the stores and attack on the stores only. But see, they try to now show that people going to stores can just take something because the security guards don't have any heat. Some do. Some do. But for the most part, security guards like marshals, I've never seen, I don't know if your state's got security guards and marshals, they don't hear. But places that have security guards that they really can't do nothing. Like when I was in Michigan, we was in a Kroger's. We don't have Kroger's here, but it was a security guard in Kroger's. So if a dude just took a lot of meat or somebody just took a lot of meat with a shopping cart out, he is going to hound them and call for help. But it was interesting that Michigan felt they needed that in that store. I thought that was interesting. That heavy rain, 2 a.m. on December 28th, they always throw some crazy weather at the end of the year, like they trying to hint or something. It's like they always hint about LA falling into the ocean, you know, having such a massive earthquake where LA, you know, all that California fall in the ocean. They've been threatening that. It's like, you know, they blew up. Now, this is one thing for the dome. You know, they called it Operation Thor's Hammer, I think. And, you know, in the 60s, the Russians and U.S. was blowing up shit in the atmosphere. They was blowing up atomic bombs. Like we blew up something like 60. The Russians blew up, I think, 100 bombs in the atmosphere. What was they going after? What was they going after in the 50s, early 60s? Shit, in the 50s, they was fucking, you know, all the people that was acting like John Wayne, Susan Hayward, they blew up an atomic bomb when they was making a movie. And so when the damn atomic cloud went by, a lot of these people died of cancer. John Wayne, so, you know, John Wayne did smoke cigarettes, but some people attribute him and Susan Hayward's death to that atomic bomb that went off. They are making a fucking movie, and these motherfuckers, these scientists are still blowing up bombs. You know, it wasn't until Reagan they started was blowing shit up underground, testing shit and blowing up atomic bombs underground. They didn't stop that until the Reagan shit. They made some agreements to stop blowing up shit underground, testing these goddamn bombs. And I've said this before, the neutron bomb was made to kill people. It was a bomb that wouldn't blow up the buildings. It would just kill the people, just kill organic. Doing the neutron dance. But the neutron bomb wouldn't blow up the shit. And I don't care what they think about Nagasaki and Hiroshima. That was napalm. They ain't blow up no damn atom bombs there. That was napalm. You look at it with the people, that was napalm. And they're like, well, you know, the radiation was in the land. It looked like them people had napalm. Now, you can put radiation poison out there too. That could be a separate bomb they dropped that radiated that area. But yeah, they don't have atomic bombs, or they'd have been dropped them on other people. A higher power has to be protecting us. We hope so. Hey, Gray, what's happening? But I mean, you are the higher power. That's the thing. Their number one card is death. That's their number one card. They want you to be scared to death. That's what this drip is all about, to scare you. This is scaring on a massive scale. Because first we see the whole agenda. The agenda is to alienate you. You're the odd one. You go to family reunions and they're whispering in the ear. Well, you know he shouldn't be talking to Uncle John. He hasn't had the drip. He hasn't had the drip, so he shouldn't. You know, they want to shame you. They want to make you an outcast. We wouldn't be surprised if they start trying to round up and say, you guys live here, they live there. And like the Netflix movie, The Border, make it like that. Make it like The Border. Maybe you can go in and work for them people for some hours, but then when it's over, you got to go back to the other side of town. And remember the thing about where the drones is around you your whole life? But there was a part where you could go where the drones had to dock because that part didn't accept the drones. Remember that movie on Netflix? So they're trying to tell you all these possible scenarios that could come, and almost all of them is fear-based agenda. Almost all of them have some type of fear in them. So it's on you not to fall for it. Yeah, that's right. Don't be scared of death. Don't be scared. Hey, Dobie, what's happening? So death shouldn't scare you. Like the last time my cousin called me, his brother had died, and he had to live with oxygen. He had a lung disease. He was on the list and he could get a lung transplant, but he was like, I don't want to go through all that. And then when his brother died, he was like, hey, it ain't so bad. And we talked for the last time, and at the time I didn't know, but he was saying goodbye to me. He was like, I ain't scared to die. I ain't scared of it anymore. He said, all these years of having this oxygen, I've been scared. He said, now I ain't scared of dying. And that's it. There are a lot of people reasons for getting the drip, and a lot of reasons seem selfish. Of course. And I'm not here to shame anybody. Whatever you got to do for your lifestyle, that's up to you. Ain't for me to judge, it's for you to live your life. I mean, my best friend got it done. His wife got it done. His son that is old enough got it done. So, they see what I post, but I don't even post a lot on Facebook like that anymore. I just let it go. And it's up to you. And again, you can be strong enough where it don't do shit to you. I stick this goddamn pin once a month in my stomach. So I ain't a hypocrite. Did I say what's happening to Gray? I think I did. Look at the testing footage of those atomic bombs in New Mexico. They stood away 20 miles and was completely safe. You telling me a bomb or that blast blew up of Hiroshima? They put fucking troops out there. They put troops. My dad was like that. He wanted to die so he could reunite with his mama. There you go. Not scared of it. But they would put troops out there to see what happened to the troops. And then these motherfuckers start getting cancers and shit. So... And if it was real, why didn't they drop it? Now, isn't it interesting? Why didn't they drop it on the Russians during the Cold War? Huh? Because think about it. The Russians had tested it to try to catch up. So they showed that they tested it just to try to give them some time. Because if they flew and dropped that shit on them, why didn't they ever drop it on Russia? Why go through the Cold War? As soon as you built those two, the next one should have been from Russia. Why didn't they drop one on them? And then place I Spy for 30, 40 years till the wall went down. And then you human sacrificed 2 agents that had nothing to do with it. It was stolen by people in MIT, not the 2 people they human sacrificed. Just like Lucky Lindy, they sacrificed his child. Because he was getting too powerful. He was fucking with the Nazis just like Ford. Ford's Nazi plant never got attacked. It broke some windows, that's it. They never dropped bombs on Ford's Nazi plant. Ford's plant in Germany never got bombed. Band of Brothers kind of shows that towards the end when they start the metal plants going back up. But Ford's plant never got attacked. I think that's on accident. The Queen never got bombed. Buckingham Palace, Big Ben, no. They killing neighborhoods. Wouldn't it seem like they want the bombs or when they first started the War of Britain, they going after the Queen and bombing the Queen shit in them churches? How did they not? How did none of these spots ever get bombed or nothing? World War I, they never, like the Nazis should have landed in England. How could they land everywhere else, but they couldn't land in England? Oh, their navy's too strong. Yeah. That shows you they wasn't trying to. People that watch the news are at least informed. There you go. Only 4 times the war, only time country wasn't in full-scale war was the 4 years of Carter's. Exactly right. And that really was a beautiful time for all. That was a really beautiful time of all. And that's why if you watched... what is it called? What the Chris Rock, was that called Dakota or something like that? But if you watch that show, when it shows Reagan, Ian, what is the Star Wars dude, Ian McShane or whatever his name is, when he played in Dakota, he played the 2 parts. But Chris Rock was just in it this past season. But anyway, they showed Ronald Reagan, and Ronald Reagan went to all these conservatives and said it's okay to not like niggas anymore. And that was kind of how Ronald Reagan got put in office. Ronald Reagan should have got the same way they should have put Nixon and arrested Nixon for treason, because Nixon was telling them North people in North Vietnam don't settle. They did the same thing to Jimmy Carter. And Johnson pretty much was saying with a week to go, like, that's treason. They got that on tape. Johnson is telling Nixon that, this is serious. If you've been negotiating, he did. He negotiated with him and told him, wait until I get in office. That's treason. And Ronald Reagan did the same thing. He told him, don't let them hostages go in Iran until I get in office. That's treason. That is treason. So those are two people that they should have arrested, but the system didn't want them arrested. And that shit that we see today started where things were right. Those 4 years of Jimmy Carter was probably the most harmony we ever had. And then things got good again, and they put the OJ shit on us. I mean, you can just see how this thing moves. Some of the relations was the best ever up to OJ. And OJ was nothing but a division program. The first reality TV show. And it divided the nation, where the people fell for it. OJ said, I'm OJ. I'm neutral. I'm OJ. I ain't black. Shit, Billy G. Williams told him. They was like, well, you're black. He said, no, I'm not. I'm from Grenada. I know who I am. I'm not black. I'm not one of the blacks. PNN hit it the best, talking about who the blacks are. He hits them the best, about who that is. And we're supposed to do a show together. So he's coming on the Galactic Patio sometime. We can get it together. There you go, Bell. Bellsy full. Don't believe the hype. That's right. What do I think of his game? I mean, it's the same. It's the same. They had to hype up Holiday. They had to hype up Matt. What is his name? Middleton. They had to hype up Middleton. But Giannis is one-dimensional. You stop him and you ain't got them shooters, they ain't winning. That's how they didn't win these other years. That's how Toronto did them. They put a wall up. We stop him. Everybody else can't consistently hit. I mean, it wasn't Garnett threw the game on purpose because he stepped on the line on purpose. But what about Joe Harris? The best three-point shooter can't hit. Hardy can't hit. For the money, they can't hit. Hardy can score 50, 60 points, but for the money, he ain't there. And I had predicted that. Of all my predictions, that one came true about the Nets. So that's how you got to look at it. Giannis played defense. Yeah, he did. He hustled. I like that. He did hustle. I'll say that. And rebounded. But he's not a complete player. He's not a complete player at all. Like, they manipulated that shot I showed. His short shot was manipulated. He shot it short. Hit the rim, boop, put it on there, and boop. And Portis. Come on, Portis. Really? Portis? 7-game series, 6 games. Portis is going to be dominant a couple games. Where was he game 1 and 2? Just turned it around, huh? His handles are okay. I know Craig Fax and them was trying to say that Rodney Rogers was like Zion. Rodney Rogers was fat at Wake Forest. He had a nice inside game. A nice, I ain't going to say mid-range, more of an inside game. But he was trying to compare Rogers to Zion. Now, Rogers was a way better shooter. Rogers had developed a short shot at Wake Forest. Zion doesn't have that. Zion is just straight to the hole. But we've had successful players, Truck Robertson, Adrian Dantley. That is who Zion's game is like. And Adrian Dantley would head fake you and get by you and angles to the basket. So it ain't all about just dunking. We've had players that just can get to the basket. I mean, Tony Parker was brilliant some of those years. His quickness was Nate Archibaldish. I mean, he would just get to the basket on people just so quick, and then that release. But remember, Tony Parker had played like they did Luka, they did Tony Parker. Tony Parker was playing pro ball at 13, 14. He's playing pro ball in France. So you get better when you play with better players, you get better. So Tony Parker was under their tutelage. His father had played pro ball over there. They never really said, I think, who Parker's daddy was, but he had played pro ball over there. Well, let me do the divination. So we should be, and as you know, we are under the full moon. Our moon is beautifully red. When it comes out, it is beautifully red. So a lot of beautiful, great. And I imagine that's why the meditations have been so good too, because the full moon energies. So maybe tomorrow I'll come on early because the full moon is supposed to come in at 9:30 tomorrow. At least that's what the weather people say. So should be a Gib, and the energy is from the south. And for those of you that enjoy the Mayan fractals, it would be, this is one of my favorite ones. So you see when they put in the English, they looked at this shit and said, how can we kind of mix a little bit of their stuff up? So Gib is cosmic force, ability to connect and commune with galactic consciousness, which is perfect for a day like today. And then the Otech, in the Totech, oh, here we go. So you get it in both. Okay. In this card image, under the head of a vulture, we see ascetic, pronouncing words of power. He is sitting on top of a pyramid because he is the voice of the divinity. In the upper left, the same as all other Tanalapi cards, we see the number 16 in the Nado way of writing numbers. The vulture represents the beginning of a new cycle that will be nurtured by the remains of what was before. Its meaning is close to that of its companion symbol right in front of the vulture in the calendar of Tampanabli card 6, death. Both cards relate to the process of death in the sense of renewal. The difference is that while the death card means arrival at a new stage where the previous one has ended, the vulture card means the blooming of life coming from the remains of what used to be alive. Death is a growing that appears through letting go. Vulture is the growth that incorporates the remain of what was. The end of the cycle brings some sorrow and grief, but now the vulture comes to transform the corpse that you saw with rejection and sadness into an offering that nurtures the new cycle you are entering. The vulture announces the renewal. The loss of what had may be painful for a time, but is ended. It is not just gone forever. But what has ended is not just gone and forgotten. It is present in the new stage of your life, in the form of the wisdom that you gained through the experience, relationship, business, projects, or dreams, which you are so immersed. The wisdom will nurture your new experience, contributing to the evolution of your life. The vulture teaches that from ashes of what was, you should rescue the lessons of everything you've learned so that your loss may turn to gain. Don't let your heart sink. Be grateful that all of you have enjoyed. And learned, even though through the loss itself. The end of what you used to love is just the beginning of a new stage, for the promise for a new life and amazing possibilities. Ignorant see the vulture as a sign of death. The wise see it as a sign of the renewal of life. As a vulture does, takes the gifts that are what's left among the remains of what has died and use them to soar the heights that you'll never imagine before. So I send that out on this beautiful night of the full moon. So I was wondering why my dream, and I had a really interesting lucid dream. I was responsible for I had all European children. I mean, my children look a little different than the ones I was with, but it was really a struggle to bring all my children in. And then once I got them in, it was a struggle keeping them around me because I kept having to do these different things. And even in a lucid way, the shit was kind of getting away from me because I'm telling these little mugs, we got to do this, and they're just not listening to me. And before I know it, there's 3 or 4 here, and I'm doing something, and I'm making it through with these 3 or 4. It was just interesting. I should have wrote it all down, but the children was interesting. Who the children were, and so I'm deciphering it. But I think basically it says that I work with anybody. Basically, that's what it says. Porter's had me dying. He was running the high stepping exactly. Thank you, Anise. I wonder what it means when the moon is red. I mean, A lot of times it's the blood moon, which is just a certain type of phase of it, but it's just the way it hits it. And then just from the angle where I'm at, it's really, as it's rising, it's really a pretty red, just the way the sun is hitting it. Because what they're really telling you to believe is that the sun has circled around, and then when the moon comes up, the sun is so, let me try to keep it in the shot, that the sun is still giving enough light to make the moon light up. When some people think that the moon has its own light. I don't know if y'all heard that the moon actually has its own light. Just the planets don't need the sun to have light. Planets have their own light. They don't want to tell you that, though. It's embarrassing. We must work to live on the planet. That's why as much as we, kill these trees and do all the things to the trees got it made. The trees and these few animals got it made. They don't pay for shit. Tree go to sleep when it get cold. How is it that bark and roots can just go to sleep and they be fine? It'd be minus up here and the trees are fine, but we can't be out in that. So who has it made better? These few trees that's out there or us? The tree is free. Like you can catch, let me tell you, if you have a relationship with these trees in the sun and that May sun, I could see the golden taken in by the sun, that what I call my mother tree. It was like, this is one of the May days, and it's just like what it received was all golden. So all the food source, you could see the goldenness reflecting on each leaf that it was eating. Because the tree is made where, look at the leaves. The tree is made so efficient. A tree from all sides, it has leaves that can turn on. So as the sun goes around, the tree has different leaves that face that. So no matter where the sun goes, the trees is lined up where it'll eat. And then look how the trees are made to collect water. At some point, the trees create branches that's like little hooks. And then the leaves open up. So you have water catchers in the tree. Watch when the trees, how they react to the rain. They open up. They're almost like a baseball glove. They open up to catch the rain. And they have little hooks. So as you look at these older trees, they build these hooks that catch the water for them. We only work to maintain the ruling class. There it is. So they can live luxury lives. Well, what did Abraham Lincoln said? You work so I can eat. That's slavery that ain't never went away. You working for somebody, they are number one, especially the way they've done it the last 20 years with having contract work. They're paying you no benefits and can use you for 90 days. Can use you for 90 days. And then even can extend that 90 days and then fire you on top of that if they don't bring you in. When they had unions, they couldn't do people like that. So you had a little more respect. Now, I ain't saying the greatest shit is in unions because they ain't the greatest. I'm saying there was a time you at least had that protection as a new worker. But when they set up these contract workers, these temporary shit, it wasn't meant to hire people. It was meant because I caught a plan. We had these motherfuckers planned, and it showed in Battle Creek when these Japanese people proposed the industrial park. They showed it. They said, "Look, you ain't got to give these people benefits," and when they put these 5 factories in a loop, and they said, and this is in the writing from the proposal. Not only won't you have to pay benefits, we can keep the people rotating around the factories. So if they get fired from one, they can hop from factory to factory, and we never got to get benefits, but yet they working, and we're paying them a lot less. In little towns like Battle Creek, this was accepted. A town of 50,000, when temporary places was secretary pools. That's what people forget about contract work. Temporary places was for secretary pools. And these cities allowed it to destroy unions. I guess I can tell this part. Right now, the people have to pay so high. They are companies that work across the street from each other is like, look, we got to quit putting these big ass signs up that say I'm gonna pay 19, and then I got to put up a sign that say pay 20. So these places are saying, look, we both gonna pay 17. That is what it's come to, because workers is like, fuck you. And I'll say this: this is one of the best times to say fuck you to works, and it makes fucked up people have to act better. Because in the 70s, motherfucker didn't care. Motherfuckers like, fuck you. I go across the street and get a job. I knew a dude. He got fired from General Motors. He went across the street and started working for another car supplier. It's like, I don't want to be in that hot ass plant anyway. It's a better job right across the street. He got fired on first shift. He started third shift, the second shift, the job across the street. That's how it used to be. During Vietnam, you had all these war protests and all the college students. Tell you what, I love this thing and I love wax better than flour, but damn if it don't give you the dry mouth. That's why I chew on this to get a little lubrication. Yeah, I saw Richard Sherman. I mean, ever since he tore his Achilles, he done. The DB tearing his Achilles, you ain't coming back from that. Jody Husky says, since 9/11, we become a police state somewhat. Belly's full, but them hungry. The trees rain dance for real. Yeah. And we look like suckers compared to nature. We paying for where we live. And then they tell you the communist thing is everybody got to be alike, which is a lie. Communism ain't never been like that. Socialism ain't never been like that. They want to tell you the fucked up thing about socialism, but socialism is a 40-hour work week. Socialism is an 8-hour day. Socialism is off on the weekends. Socialism is holiday pay or don't work on holidays. That's all socialism. This guy on YouTube said he was doing drugs and had a ANID and said he was a dimension. He was in a dimension of hell. Hell ain't hot. Hell would be cold. One of my favorite songs. Absorbs energy from the sky and the ground. There you go. The way he was describing it sounded scary. Hell wouldn't be scary and it wouldn't be hot. It would be something different. Like, this is my jail. You know, I already see that. I watched my cousin be in the jail. And I mean, my cousin lived in a disability kind of place. You know, he had a stroke, so he's a little slow. But I see myself like that. I mean, this 2-bedroom apartment is my prison, no doubt. I see how the thing is. And I accept the shit. It's like, okay, I'll make the best out of it. Because I can't have what I want to manifest if I don't love this. And I want you to understand that. You can't manifest, you can't have what you want to manifest until you love every moment. That's how you manifest. Because if you can't love every moment, you can't manifest. I mean, they want to kill me in Michigan, and I've went 6-7 times, and I've never been killed. I have family members that know they want to kill me there and call them people on me, knowing that if they see me there, they would kill me. And then my family members did this shit to me the first time I went. But one of my ancestors already came in and told me I was going to be all right. So my timing was perfect. But my own people sent people to kill me. Well, they didn't. They was like the people they alerted would have killed me if I would have stayed where I was. My own family. Well, not my family, my son's mom and her husband. Yeah. Did you see that's what factories was all over? Yeah, factories was everywhere. Hey, Laquan, thank you for joining me. Very kind words. Yeah, exactly. The more, but you have to love every moment to manifest. You have to understand that. You can't put shit in the future. You have to love this. And it's like in poker, you have to love the hand you have and make it work. Because you love this first combination, you're like, okay, this is a good hand. That's how you put the luck in to see that the cards that you want, that you can manifest. But to manifest anything, you have to look at the now. And that's what we, people with any kind of imagination, it's so easy for us to create what we want and what we see. But we forget the step of right now. That's why I was saying, like, sometimes when you remote view, you have to be like a drone and you have to make the trip. Sometimes you really do. So it's like you have to fly over these areas. As I was saying, I would go see my children at night like that in Michigan. I would actually have to fly over the Midwest and go into their homes and, kiss them and give them my energy. But I had, instead of just blinking their rooms, don't really work like that. At that point, I had to physically be like a drone. And for those of you that can remote view, remember that that's an option. I'm bringing that up again. That's an option. You can be the drone to get there. And then after a while, it is just like the Predators. You just, boom, you pop into it. And you're there. But that's a great practice, too. I bet more people could remote view than could get in the astral world, leaving their body like that. That ain't really pushed a lot. And then the czar stuff, I'll be looking for the windows to be trying to push myself in the windows because that's a whole different movement. And I'm about the only one that talks about that. Bomber showed it, but he don't really talk about how to use it. So you don't understand your emotions. Well, what emotions do you have? That's where you start. Is like, look at all the emotions that you have. I'll say this, up to my nephew dying, I was crying all the time. Didn't know why. I was just crying. Like even tears of joy getting into Kundalini, because sometimes the Kundalini come and make you cry because it's such a great feeling. But I was getting that more than normal. And I couldn't figure out why. It's like I wasn't depressed. I didn't feel bad about anything. And it's like all these emotions just kept coming. And then the news came. And when I had to call, I was like, yeah, this is something in the family. And so I was like, that's where, this hurt has been coming from. It was building up. It was like my nephew was found, and not found, but the family saw him, and we was trying to, find help for him and stuff. But when you're talking about a grown person, it ain't easy to help a grown person with their own minds. But we definitely had put it out there that we wanted to get him help. And you telling me we start trying to get help, and then 7 days later, a homeless person gets killed in a car accident while he's driving? You just don't understand that. Well, we understand. So yeah, Tiger Strong, see your emotions, write them all down, and see if there's any triggers for each emotion. Because I would say, as a young man, like my first wife, I verbally abused her so much. I never hit her, but I just cut her up verbally. And I don't know how all those years she stood for it. I really don't. I had always cheated, so the dude that she went with in college was the same dude she married. That hadn't changed. So you saw me cheating in college. What did you think was going to change? But women mature faster than men. She had a vision of what she wanted. And that really wasn't my vision. My vision for her was I helped her. And in the position she's in today, she has me to thank from bringing her out of North Carolina. Now, she can say that ain't true, and that's not, because every plug, every key came from me and my family. So I put her in a position to succeed. Now, they helped her succeed. My family didn't help me to succeed. They didn't give me the push they gave her. And that was all right. I don't. That's how those people are. They're going to have to live their truths. So that's a way to, of just looking at that you did help. What was the final score?
Oh, I got left.
It was 3-2 in the eighth.
I left at like 9 o'clock.
Did you seen dude hit that home run and hit 3-2, make it 3-2?
No, I didn't see any of that.
Where'd you sit?
I sat up top. I just wasn't watching.
Where we sat? Well, that time we went, you all sat out there?
No, we sat third row. Third shelf.
I'm saying where at though? Like third base, first base, behind home plate?
Behind third base.
Third base. Oh, that ain't bad. You remember that place we sat in them bleachers? Remember that shit when I took y'all?
No.
Joey's wife gave us that the first time we went. It was a picture of me and you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd never sit there again.
Why?
Shit, you don't remember how that shit was moving? No, that shit was scary.
Remember this?
Well, your mama used to sit on mine, so I defiled your mother. Remember that? I beguiled your mother.
Why is that hat so fucking? Let me see.
Okay.
Why is your hat so fucking big?
I shoot you in your leg. You gonna find out.
Let me see what's up. You broke my finger. Oh, look here.
Oh, looky there. Don't touch my pizza. You touch my hat, you disrespect me. Don't touch my pizza. You breathing on my pizza. Don't breathe on my pizza. I don't care. You know I bought it for us.
Yeah, dude.
They called you a baby man child. Yeah, he is. He is 6. How tall are you? 6'5"?
And a half.
He's 6'5" and a half. And how much do you weigh now?
I dropped. I'm 250 now.
Oh, he's 250. He weigh about as much as I do.
Oh, you got like water, or it's leaking on the pizza. Some wild shit happened to the pizza.
Mm-hmm. Ain't nothing in there to leak. Was it too far in the back?
Most def, probably.
All right. It's kind of like we got last time with bacon in it and shit.
Pepperoni and bacon?
Yeah.
It's my favorite pizza.
Yeah. So I thought, I'm going to stab you. You touch me again.
I don't want to touch your bogus ass.
You touch me again, you're going to get stabbed. Look at all that face. Now, see the difference in the face? All that face. See how large his face is?
Because I'm huge.
Yeah, you're all face.
Big body.
Yeah. Put your face in some dough and make some gorilla cookies. European dude stopped me and said, "How much do you pay for your bodyguard?" Like, bodyguard.
When did this happen?
We was in Walmart. Remember we went to Walmart and we was waiting in line and shit?
No.
That's what a dude asked me. You talked to Devo though about that shit?
Yeah.
What'd he say? Is he doing anything?
No, I didn't talk to him.
Call that nigga up. Get that going. Get that going. I love some bacon. Round Table has the best pizza. Baby Win in the building. I'm 6 foot. I think at my most I was probably 6'1" before I started shrinking. And I'm still 6 foot right now. I got measured at the doctor, so I shrink about an inch. I'm gonna shrink more, but I'm about 6 foot. But he's like my oldest son with their mother is the shortest, and he's 6'4". And then my middle son, my 20-year-old, is 6'6". They're close. And then, like he said, he's 6'5" and a half, but he's 18. It's 18, 20, and one's 26. My oldest son is 5'10", 5'11", and then my other son in Michigan is about 6'2". So healthy people. My daughter, my middle daughter, my oldest daughter is probably short like her mom. I bet 5'3", 5'4". And then my middle daughter's 5'6", and she's like, all these big people in my family, and I'm so short. Yeah, he said he's 250. Yeah, that's about. I'm about 245, 250. I've been drinking a lot of beer since my birth month last month, so I'm about 252. But yeah, he takes all that jujitsu and all that shit. They be flipping people and shit. So yeah, football wasn't his thing, which that's all right. That's all right. But we got a guy playing at the U. They call him Debo. But we're trying to get Debo set so he can profit off his likeness. Because, you can profit off your likeness this year. So he's, I got to get his real name. What is his real name?
Devin Eastern.
Devin Eastern. That's his name.
My friend's in there.
Where?
You just sent me a picture of this.
Yes, Devin Eastern. Look for him at the U. That's our guy. Just like Garcia. Garcia went to Carolina. I took a picture of him.
Wow.
Is that Zach across the street?
That was my friend Jaden.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for watching, Jaden. Right on. No, when I walk, it's like I'm well protected when we all together. They look out for the old man. But I was laying on the floor hurt the other day, and he didn't do nothing. Didn't call 911 or nothing.
What?
Just left me there. That's right. What did you think I was doing? Taking a nap on the
What are
ground?
you talking about?
I got the, I had the thing, I got the necklace. You push this button, and it tells them I'm
This
thawed.
gobbledygook you're spewing.
You see this? I'm pushing the necklace, and
You're
nothing's
slandering
happening.
my name. That never happened.
Then he comes in, and he doesn't even pick me up and see if I'm okay. Calls his mother and says, I think Dad's drunk on the floor.
That never happened.
See how dirty? That's how dirty they do
That
this.
never happened.
Just like, yeah, Mom, Dad's drunk on the floor. What do I do about it? Just leave him there. He's okay. I'm trying to hit my alert button. Nothing's happening.
How'd you get up?
6'4", 210, especially out here in LA, it's full of midgets. Most men are below. Not here. Devin is about 6'6", the one that's playing defensive end for the Gophers. He's gonna play defensive end. Devin's 6'6". I told you Duncan Garcia that transferred from Dawson Garcia that's transferring from Marquette to Carolina. He's 6'11", and he's what, about his age? Yeah, no, Dawson is a year older. But this big people, I'll say that it's big people here. Yeah, it's big people. He's Shoddy. I talk about Shoddy Vaughn all the time. Shoddy's 6'6". Trying to think, what's his name? Because he's playing in 3-on-3. What is his name? The boy they caught stealing. I can't think of his name. Rodney White. His last name is White. When I watched the Big Three, he played last year. We'll see if he played. But he went from he was stealing at the U. He got kicked out of U. He ended up with Iowa State. And he put it on Kentucky. Kentucky beat him, but he put it on him. And he was drafted number 1 by Houston, but he didn't like to fly. I can't think of his name. It'll come to me. Why do we let the government control us? Well, I am a revolutionary, and I have been saying that every person should have went to the Capitol. Every American should have went to the Capitol. And the point was to shut the government down. And so a lot of people were saying that. And so what they did, and I still think it was I still think it was them peoples that caused all that stuff out there. So, but he asked what's tall. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of average here, Like I said, when I played ball, I was 6'1". I was listed as 6'1". I was about 175, 180 when I played football. So I don't know. I don't know what tall is.
Yeah, you are 170.
Give you a call. Yeah, I'll call you. 175.
You and how tall?
6'1".
Were you a running back, a safety?
Wide receiver. I was running that
What the fuck?
running that 4-4.
Nah, I would have cracked you up. 170? Nah, bro.
What's the fastest 40 you thought you could ever run?
5'6".
I'm running 4-4. You would
That's
be nowhere
cool, but
near me.
If I ever made contact, 170, yeah, you're off.
You
your
would be
feet.
on the line. You wouldn't even play linebacker. You'd be
I've
on the
been on
line.
DN.
And then a
I've been
crackback, I'd have tore you up crackbacking.
What, bro? If I was on DN,
If they called it
If
where
I
I had
caught
to
you-
crack back on the
if I caught you,
linebacker
you're
or
dead.
the defensive
you
end,
would have died.
I did you
rib
like I
would
did that
exploded internal
safety
bleeding.
at Mississippi Valley.
Why did they have you a wide receiver if you're 6'1", 170? Like
I
they
was
didn't
fast.
They didn't have no skinny tall people.
Not really. Count was running them 4.2s.
Like Devin would be a good wide receiver.
He's too big.
How tall is he?
And you talking about my son, Devin,
Yes.
your brother? Oh, yeah, he could have played it. He was that size,
Yeah. Did you say he was like 210, 220?
something like that.
210.
What did I think about Ghana's game? I don't know. I ain't no great Ghana's
Do
fan.
the numbers.
What's that?
Mine
Zach did all that. He did all the gematria, and it was set up for him to win this year. But he's limited in his abilities. Yes, he can dribble, but
he ain't no Dirk, he ain't no KD.
Everybody, like, yeah, he does not have the one go-to shot. You know, he does not have Royce White. There you go, Dobie. Royce White is from here, and Royce is about 6'5" and 6'6". And I watched Royce destroy Rodney Williams. He just destroyed him. But he destroyed Kentucky. Royce was yelling, "I'm the one, the baddest motherfucker out here." Royce was killing him. Royce was killing Kentucky, and Royce wouldn't fly. Royce was little, you know. He was scared to fly and stuff. So, Al Jannard, we let him control us because not enough go against him. You know, they had them magnets on for him in the finals. Absolutely, Antonio. Absolutely had the magnets on him. I never let them control me. It's all these dang sheeple. And that's the problem, is the majority of people are controlled, and the majority of people want to be controlled. They want control. So people, like, that's one thing. If you looked at The Purge, or you looked at shows on the after, people wouldn't really know what to do after. Like, if society broke down, people wouldn't really know what to do. I mean, people literally would be seeing chaos in the street and sitting in their houses and trying to watch the internet and shit. Like, you could just, you know, a lot of people put their head in the sand. That's what we have. We have a lot of people putting their head in the sand. Isn't that bad for a receiver? My nephew's still in high school, playing running back, and the tallest receiver on this team is 6 foot. It was dudes like Lonnie ran a 4.2, and Lonnie had a half a foot. During his period, he was the 100 meter, maybe. I don't even know if it was 100 meter back when he was in school, because Lonnie probably graduated in 77, 76, 77. But he had a half a foot, run 4.2 with a half a foot. And Lonnie was only about 5'8". Clarence Weathers, same way. Clarence was only about 5'8". Clarence played with Cleveland. Yeah, and then when Schottheimer, because Clarence had a brother that played in the NFL too. I can't remember his brother's name. And then Clarence played with Cleveland, and then he ended up, when Schottheimer went to Kansas City, I think that's where Clarence played a couple years there. So they just bow down to Big Brother. They do whatever they're told. Sadly, I agree. That's what is we see majority. The majority of people bow down. I mean, what do you think Kaepernick is telling you to do? One knee is to the queen. You bow and get on one knee to the queen. Women's bow, but you know, mostly most people get on one knee to be knighted. Yeah, they're telling you to bow down. We used to sit down to the whatever that is, national anthem and shit. We used to sit down. It shows all aspects of wanting to be controlled. People rather let their money rot in mutual funds than learn how to invest on their own. Well, you have investors. Most people would rather have investors than investing. So, well, he's playing his game, so this system is probably not going to handle this. I'm going to end it on Facebook. That's all right. I got it saved at least. I hear you. That's all right. All right. So it's funny on Facebook. You know, you see one chick doing the duck lips, you're gonna see 3 other pictures. Now, if Facebook shows you it's a matrix in a way, because what's the odds of women, like, you'll get 5 or 6 women doing the exact same pose on the right side, showing their right face. What is the odds of that? At the same time, you got 7 or 8 people across the country that do the exact same thing. What's the odds of that? That dude they gave up his dad. He was gonna get his. There you go. Views are all liberals. Had some interesting views on them. Well, Malcolm was an agent too. Malcolm was controlled opposition. They got their government money. So system is being used more because of the amount of threes players are taking. That's why I don't have social media. There you go. There you go. Like it again, selfies is a mental illness. If you have the need now, I have one friend that she is a survivor of some diseases. So she does one every day. I understand the people that need, women that need to feel better, that need to put themselves on every day. But overall, it's a mental illness to take selfies every day. It's a mental illness. It's narcissism. That you feel that you got to show your projection every day. The duck lips things is so funny. As I was saying about my niece, my niece took pictures because everybody, my great niece, and it was like she already had the Facebook face. I don't know. I haven't even broke down the Super Bowl, but like a lot of people pointing out, the Bucks and the Bucks, Bucks and the Lightning, and the LA Dodgers, Dodgers, Bucks, Lightning, Bucks. That's the champions this year. I can't believe how many people are so obsessed. Yeah. Yep. You ain't gonna look no different from one day to the next. You really don't. What you need?
That auxiliary cord.
Which one?
The long one.
Which
one?
It
was on the table. It came in your box. Your beatbox.
I think it's in the closet.
This one?
Don't lose my auxiliary cord. What are you talking about on my? Oh, it's in here. For the radio, the little boom box?
Yeah.
It's right there.
Yeah, I need it for my speaker. I have a monitor. It doesn't have audio.
Oh, okay. I have a lot of talk about how the Cowboys are on the sports show lately. Yeah, they've been pushing that. I've been seeing that as well. What are you wearing? One of them damn Tarzan pair of...
I broke them. I need it. All right, where is it?
What? The plug or the whole box?
The whole box.
Oh, it's in the probably where the hoodies are. Probably in there. Up top, maybe. He got like some tires and shit on. Loincloth. He's wearing a fucking loincloth. He's wearing a loincloth. We need to take your ass to the Amazon. All right. Well, I'm going to end with Mora. I think I'm coming on earlier tomorrow night because it is the full moon. So I got to get some incense, maybe get some sage.
Is it the harvest?
This is called the cherry moon. I believe this is called the cherry moon. So this is from the Time Walking Papers. Mora. Mora is a way that the community, like almost saying, like people say Jesus, they would probably say Mora. And more would be more for everybody than one entity. It would be just the conditions. Mora, it all starts with a gentle sadness because these are civilization builders. They came from their original homeland. They knew that they had an exact number of years and days before they would disappear off the earth as a culture and lifestyle. But as civilization builders, the civilization would build to a gentle love. They lived in the Creator's day and knew how to separate cycles and the great serpent. And as the Mayan would say, I am another yourself. So treat me the way you would treat yourself. Well, thank you all. Okay. Get CJ back on here again. PJ back on here again. Excuse me, I'm tripping. Get you back on here again. And we can philosophize. Thank you all. I'll tell you what, Craig Facts, there's a cat, I guess, that talks about boxing. I got to look that cat up because he was talking about the contracts of boxing and how boxing has pretty much always been run by the poor. I mean, it's a poor man's kind of way to get out. That's why so many South Americans do it. Is it's a poor way to get out. And I mean, I grew up around boxing as a boy. My stepfather's best friend was a boxing promoter, and I saw what was called punch drunk as a boy, and them dudes who had the scrambled brains because they was always like children. You know, it was the first time I saw grown men acting like children or having the minds of children, and it was these boxers. And you know, they would play him off. It's like, oh, we understand he's punch drunk. So that's been around for a long time. Can't say about the CTE stuff. Can't say that I always saw ex-football players mentally, and that might be the thing too, where all of a sudden football players is so shaken after their careers where they're killing themselves. And this is like the generation before me, my generation going forward, where we seeing this. Because Dave Dermerson that kills himself in that movie that Will Smith is in about the CTE, I want to say he my age or a year or two older, but no more than 2 years. Dave Dermerson, I think is his name. So that series was staged. All of them are staged. Oh, that was a lot of tobacco juice. But this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I'm going to be on tomorrow about 9:15 our time, or 9:15 Central. So look for me a little early tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. I would love to cash app you. Breakdown on how Bucks was fixed, even though it hurts my heart. Well, my cash app is, and I think I put it in the notes, but you have a good night too, Anise. I appreciate all your help. But I can do another breakdown of the Bucks. That's no problem. So thank you, Kelly. But this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. Till we meet again.